A video that is breaking India's heart. And yes, we are still talking about air accidents. This video on your screen comes in a week of terrible mourning, grieving and loss for India. Not long after the Air India 171 crash in Ahmedabad, a helicopter went down on the way to Kedarnath. It was the fifth such accident and the second fatal such crash in just the last couple of weeks. The pilot of that aircraft was an army officer, and the woman you see on your screen is his wife, also an army officer, a serving army officer, Lieutenant Colonel Deepika Chauhan in these images in full uniform, holding that picture of her husband and walking in his funeral procession in Jaipur. These pictures have broken a billion hearts, and they have reminded everyone that the nation owes Colonel Deepika accountability, answers, a salute, and our eternal thanks for her service and the service of her husband. But there are bigger questions to ask. As we look at these pictures, as these pictures break our hearts, let's remember that Colonel Deepika's husband, Colonel Rajveer Singh Chauhan, was killed in a helicopter crash. The fifth such accident, like I said, in just 1.5 weeks. These are helicopter routes that ferry hundreds of people every single day on the route to Kedarnath in Uttarakhand, one of the trickiest places to fly in. And I have with me now Captain Shyam Kumar. He's an air safety expert and a former helicopter pilot himself. Captain Kumar, thank you for being with me here on India Matters on NDTV. These are heartbreaking images that we look at, but Colonel Rajveer is only the latest person to pay with his life in a sector of the country where helicopter flights have been going on for a very long time. But there clearly is a problem, whether it is safety, whether it is guidelines, whether it is infrastructure, whether it is compliance, something needs to be done. What are your views on helicopter flying in the Kedarnath route, sir?
Thank you, Jai Hind, Shano Baruna. First of all, my condolences to late Colonel Rajveer Singh Chauhan, and I sympathize with the family and prayers that the strength come to the family to withstand the pressure and the grief that Lieutenant Colonel Deepika Chauhan and the family is going through.
Yeah.
We have lost a colleague and we have lost a helicopter pilot. It is said that helicopters are very complex machines to fly, and mostly the pilots first learn to fly on the fixed wing aircraft, and then they graduate to this complex machine, which has the capability to carry out advanced maneuvers to take off from place vertically and then land back vertically, avoiding the requirement of a long runway and flexibility of operation. With this flexibility comes the very, very tough challenges of its maintenance, procedures, binding to the SOPs, and the reactions that the pilot has to fly in unknown, uncharted terrains quite a bit, which are probably little away from the fixed wing flying. When I say this, the protection that a fixed wing aircraft gets from runway to runway, the predictions of weather, the support system, the SOPs, the navigates en route, and the aircraft itself is capable to fly with a lot of good avionics. Whereas a helicopter like this, which was from Aryan company, was a single engine Bell helicopter, 410 I think, and a single pilot operation. Imagine. That is where we first understand the challenges that helicopter pilot must have been going through, and then flying into terrain which is mountainous and unpredictable weathers. These things we have to keep in mind. I am going systematically. Material is one point, maintenance is one point, the natural challenges and environmental challenges are second point, and then comes the pilot's skill. So we must understand we are doing frequent flying in these hills, and world over, and especially in India in monsoon conditions. Most of the helicopter, why I'm saying so, most of the helicopter accidents have taken place in mountainous regions, in Army, Navy, Air Force,
Yes.
which I am privy to as a flight safety man, with more than 3,000 accidents of all the three services under my analysis as a member of exam committee during 2007-8, when we had this infamous accidents of
Yes.
MiG-21, and when we made a committee, when the Rang De Basanti came, we carried out analysis jointly. And I know even Navy has many crashes like this in mountainous terrains. Air Force has, Army has.
Yeah.
Now we can say that the helicopter was flying early morning and in a situation when there has been rain and there was a cloud burst around, valley flying. So obviously when the aircraft is going through such situations, the pilot's skill comes into play.
Correct.
And I'm sure he was a very, very experienced pilot from the Army who has flown enough on the single engine aircraft in Chetak, Cheetah,
Yeah.
and in the mountainous terrain. I'm sure he would have done his best.
What does
But one fine day
Captain Kumar,
in
very
aviation,
quickly,
Murphy law
what
takes
does the
place.
government, in your view, need to do? You know, whenever accidents happen in Uttarakhand, we hear about state government guidelines being, issued, etc. Given we know the treacherous nature of helicopter flying, the dangers of this route itself, what do you think the state government needs to do?
State government has given no-go to any helicopter operation for the time being. They would be carrying out checks on the SOP, the operations. See, these guidelines are maintained through DGCA.
Okay.
And then there is Aircraft Accident Investigation Board, the Directorate of Airworthiness under DGCA, whereas AAIB is an independent body which is carrying out investigation in Ahmedabad crash. Also, I was just hearing a program on which I have given my comments for the last 5 days continuously. There are certain rules and there are certain executions. And when you have rules, they have to be followed. They're generally stringent in protected operations. But in these independent operations like this, when you are flying from advanced landing grounds, landing at new places where protection system is less,
Absolutely.
they are likely to be, overlooking on certain procedures. And that is why I have to say that policy making bodies like state government who is
whether it is, you're right, Captain Kumar, whether it is shortcuts, whether it is, pressure on these private operators to complete as many round trips as possible, there are a combination of factors that need to be investigated. We will not point in any one direction, but an all-round approach to flight safety is clearly required in the mountains of Uttarakhand, and we will continue to report it, not only because it is the right thing to do for every passenger, but also tonight because we owe accountability and answers to the woman that you see on your screen. That is Lieutenant Colonel Deepika Chauhan. Thank you very much, Captain Kumar, for joining us on this story. Well, the other terribly heartbreaking image continues to be those who were lost in Air India Flight 171. And today, 3 members of Flight 171's crew, including Captain Sumit Sabharwal, the pilot in command, were bid a tearful farewell in their respective cities. From the 90-year-old father of the pilot to the families of cabin crew member Shraddha to another cabin crew member Maithili. This is a country's goodbye.
Captain Sumit Sabharwal's 88-year-old father, Pushak Raj Sabharwal, broken. His wait for his son to take an early retirement to spend time with him will never end. He's sending his 56-year-old son on his final journey. The solace, Captain Sumit Sabharwal's last flight may have ended in tragedy, but his memory lives on as a man of duty, dignity, a son devoted to his father. Among those known like veteran industrialist Niranjan Hiranandani,
devastated to say the least, and I think only justice can be to use this moment to study the case thoroughly and leave no gaps for the future.
and the common man.
First thing for a parent is to see their child go.
मेरा सत नमन है.
He was such a dedicated son, committed pilot.
Such a wonderful person, such this thing. इतना parents को ध्यान रखना, इतना uncle को ध्यान रखना, पूरे परिवार को लेके इतनी patience.
The story was no different at Mulund, the home of Shraddha Dhawan, Captain Sabarwal's colleague and in-cabin supervisor of the ill-fated flight. She leaves behind a 15-year-old daughter and a husband who also works with Air India. "21-year-old Maithili Patil, another crew member on the ill-fated Dreamliner, also returned home to her roots in a village in Raigad for the last time. A young life gone too soon. The skies in Amreli, Gujarat wept as the city bid farewell to Arjun Patolia. Arjun, a UK resident, is the face of a trail of tragedies. He came home to immerse his wife Bharti's ashes in the Narmada, leaving his 4 and 8-year-old daughters in London. They will never see him again. With Anuj Raite, Radhika Ramaswamy, NDTV 24/7.